And welcome back. Still to come this morning, could having an affair save your marriage? Plus the woman who collects nurses.
Not live nurses, I think. Things to do with nurses.
Oh, no, I think they're live.
Oh, are they? All right. Now then, we all want to make sure that our children eat well, but we don't want to spend hours slaving over a hot stove. So on the face of it, kids' supermarket ready meals seem like a godsend.
But are they? Will the kids like them? And more importantly, are they nutritionally balanced? Nutritionist Rachael Hill will be giving us her opinion in just a minute. But first, let's find out what the kids think.
We like it because it's got the parrot and the jungle. It makes it like look nicer.
And I like the look of the macaroni cheese.
The food's really nice on the box because I like the colours.
We like it because the cartoon, and it looks like he's going to fall over.
I wish I could have this every day.
Nice.
I want more.
Can you stop saying, this is nice?
It's delicious.
Nice, but not the best. It filled me up, and I was full after, so I couldn't eat anymore. We give it 4 out of 5.
It's spicy and I like the flavour.
We give it a 5. I don't like it.
I like the sausage. We give it 2.
They're nice and meaty.
Because the meatballs are nice and spaghetti.
Yeah, but the meatballs were the best.
We give it 5 out of 5.
Well, Rachael Hill joins us now. That's absolutely fascinating because the rules stop when you get to 1 year old, don't they, with the packaging? So, and what it says on the packaging, beyond the age of 1, you can then you've got to put the nutritional values on, but then you don't have to put the other stuff on.
Well, I think the situation is that there's strict nutritional guidelines for up until the age of 1, so babies are pretty covered. But from 1 to 18, it's very difficult to decide what the nutritional guidelines should be because children's nutritional requirements vary so much depending on their age and their activity levels.
So you could put the nutrition in there. And quite actively say, well, you know, there are parts in here that are actually very good for you, but what you then are not restricted on is the amount of salt you put in, the amount of sugar you put in, the amount of additives you put in.
Yes, yeah. Well, we're sort of left to be governed by adults' guidelines, really. So supermarkets are taking huge steps to try and improve their ranges, such as the ones that we've got here, but they're still not really quite there. So it means that it's interesting, I think, on your clip that the Tesco one came out the best. And that, when we looked at the nutritional analysis, was actually the highest in fat of all the ones that we've got here.
So can you, I mean, walking around the supermarket, looking at the backs of tins and packets is very boring and difficult, and then you've forgotten your glasses and you can't see what you're doing. But can you tell us roughly the numbers that children should have of grams of salt, fat, additives?
Well, that's the biggest problem, Fern, because because there are none of these nutritional guidelines, it's very difficult to say a child should have this much fat or this much sugar. We can really only go by the adult guidelines, so we know that adults ideally shouldn't be eating more than 30% fat, say, for example, and then this product is 45% fat, so that's all we've got to go by.
We've got our own sort of board here, a kids food board, total. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, obviously, as you said, it's difficult with the guidelines, but that does give you some sort of a guide. You can see what would be a lot should you see it on a packet, and a little bit if you should see it on a packet. Total fat, 20 grams, obviously a lot. A little is
this a
is 3
daily
grams.
allowance?
Yeah, that's per serving.
Oh, per serving.
So it's on the website as well, but it is a really good guide. So because it can be very daunting to read the back of packets and looking at
Well, you've got to
nutritional.
have a degree in physics,
Yeah.
because I had no idea that if it said sodium on there, if you read sodium,
Yes.
that also, I thought, well, sodium, salt, same thing.
Yeah,
but
about 5 grams.
you've-
Sounds like nothing.
You've got to multiply by 2.5
Yes.
the sodium to get the salt.
That's right, that's right. Supermarkets are becoming much better with this. I know Marks and Spencer's and I think Sainsbury's and Co-op, they're starting now to put the salt content on the packets rather than saying to parents you've got to multiply by 2.5 from the sodium. So they are getting a bit better, but I think the things to really watch for the individual manufacturers, the people that are making the salts, the snacks and the desserts, rather than a whole range like this.
What about the Asda meatballs?
I mean, all of these meals, if you actually take them at face value, they're not a problem if children are having them occasionally. You know, maybe a Friday night, so mum or dad don't want to cook and they just want to have a night off not getting in the kitchen. It's not such a problem. The problem is when they're having these every day.
So that's 30% fat and makes up approximately 42% of the total fat content.
Yes.
2 grams of salt.
Yeah, the salt content in something like this Asda meal for a 4 to 6 year old, it was half what they should be having in a whole day. So although they're taking big steps to improve their ranges, we're obviously not quite there yet.
And the rule is that would seem to be that the more cartoon characters, the more bright and shiny these packages are, the higher they are in fat or salt or sugar or all of them, or additives, which we haven't touched on. The fact that of course there are additives in there as well.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the thing about additives that really shocked me last year, there was a study that showed that 25% of all children are affected by 4 of the main food colourings that are often used in children's foods, which means that it makes it difficult for them to sleep, gives them temper tantrums.
Concentrate.
And these are all things that we think are a naughty child, but it could just be down to their diet.
Salt, of course, is storing up problems for blood pressure, hypertension,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Fat, obesity, obviously. Sugar.
Yes, I mean sugar's sometimes blown out of proportion, but it still does have, because it's not got huge health effects, but the biggest problem is for children's teeth.
And it's very addictive.
It is, yeah, and 53% of all children in this country have dental disease, which is really quite scary.
So we could be storing up all sorts of health
Yes.
problems, heart
Yeah.
disease, etc.
What you say is that, as we've been talking about, and we say it a lot on here, sort of all things in moderation. But you say it's just as easy to whack in a lean chicken breast, and it takes just as long to cook, and it's just as easy to prepare as one of these meals.
Yes, yeah, exactly. There is, I think, quite a common misconception that it's difficult to cook or it's really time-consuming. But it can be just as quick to grill a lean chicken breast, like you say, or a piece of fish instead of fish fingers. And the benefit for your child is going to be enormous. You're going to cut right back on salt, additives and sugar.
Grilled chicken
and
breast
fat.
is as dry as old boots. That's not the way to do it, really, is it? It's much better, I think, perhaps poach it. in
Exactly,
some,
yeah. You sometimes have to be a little bit imaginative, but you know, the food companies are imaginative themselves.
So are we getting better, and can we begin to trust? Is there something we can look for that says, right, OK, I can see that's that logo on the back there, I can trust what they say?
There isn't really as yet. I think you've just got to take a bit of common sense. Marks and Spencer's been particularly clever. They've got some extra vegetables in their mashed potato there. So, you know, it's trying to increase the amount of vegetables and fruit that your child's eating and cutting right back on the processed stuff, really.
So I think that any food manufacturers are watching. That's the one thing they should be sticking on there. Make sure that you put labelling on the back that we can trust, that
And
when we believe you
understand.
and we can understand it, and put a little sticker on there, and then we'll buy them.
Yes, Rachel, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
indeed. If you want any further information about kids' ready meals, you can see ITV1 Teletext, page 654, or of course our This Morning website.
Now, it's been just 2 short weeks since we launched our competition to put lyrics to the This Morning theme tune.
And yet more musical masterpieces have winged their way to us over the past week. And thank you, honestly, thank you. The standard, as you would expect, has been incredibly high, but you don't have to take my word.